First red flag that I got from my narcissistic ex-husband when we first got married. So if you've been following me for a while or you know anything really about narcissists, is that they are master manipulators. So stuff like this that happened in our marriage, from literally the story that I'm about to tell that happened on our honeymoon, it didn't happen while we were dating. There was obviously...
Well, just so you know, the lady right here recounts her honeymoon nightmare as her ex-husband morphed into a control freak overnight.
Little red flags here and there that I obviously completely ignored or was just so like love bombed into not seeing them, that when stuff like this happened after we got married, after the paper was signed and everything, I was like, oh crap. So before there's any judgment about, well, you chose this, you chose to marry him, you know, all those people that obviously know what they're talking about, remember that they're master manipulators and they can get anyone to do anything, basically. When we got married, there was a flip switched. Immediately when we got married, it's like he was like, okay, now you are trapped. Now I can do what I want. And this is the first thing that happened. So we were on our honeymoon. We went on a cruise for our honeymoon. And I had been on a couple cruises before. He had not. It was the day that we were getting off the boat because we landed in Mexico. So, okay, yeah, let's get off the boat. Let's go. Number one, we didn't have a good amount of time. Like, we didn't have all day. You know, if you've ever been on a cruise, you know that there's a certain time. And if you're not back on the boat at a certain point, then they will leave you. So he is like, I'm on vacation, I want to sleep in. That's fine, but at the same time, like, we're kind of on a schedule because we also had like a thing that we had to go do at a certain time. So I was already a little bit stressed out, and he did use sleep as control so much, where he would get so high, so drunk that he would sleep until like 2 in the afternoon most days. And if I was like, hey, we have somewhere to be, it would immediately be a fight. That's how the day started, is that he was oversleeping, and he was already a little bit pissed off at me because I was reminding him that we had plans on our honeymoon. Once again, I can see all of the comments coming in of, oh, you were already nagging him on your honeymoon? No, I was just, you know, reminding him. So everything started before we even got off the boat. There's a certain way that you have to get off the boat. There's an intercom telling you how to do it. There's signs telling you where to go. There's people who have been on cruises before that could tell you how to do it. But you know what? I was like, he seems like he knows where he's going. Let's just follow him. I'm keeping my mouth shut, and I'm thinking, I know that we're going the wrong way. I know that we are. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let him do what he wants to do. Because he was already mad at me for waking him up. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let him do his thing. After like 15 minutes of just wandering around, how do we get off this boat? Which, how? But anyway, I tell him, hey, I'm sorry, it's this way. Like, we've got to go this way. And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I tell him, like, I've been on a cruise before. I'm listening to the intercom. I'm reading the signs. Like, I'm just trying to help us. I start walking this way, and I touch his arm, not grab his arm. In his version of the story, I grab his arm like this, and I'm like, come on. That's not how that happened.
Okay.
I grabbed,
that was pretty
like
much
this,
very toxic.
my newlywed husband's arm on our honeymoon, and he reared his arm back, put his hand up at me, and said, I'm the man, you're the woman, you do what I say, I'm not listening to you. Great feeling on your honeymoon. So he stands there like that. I stand there looking at him, and I'm like, what are you gonna do? And no, he doesn't have the courage.
This is quite an interesting personal story.
He does decide to not talk to me for a few hours, probably 3 to 4 hours of our honeymoon. We somehow find our way off the boat. Immediately, I need a drink. I need to go get a drink. I'm like, okay. So we go, and we literally just sit at this restaurant with him drinking beer for like another hour, and he's just not talking to me. So whenever he finally stops the silent treatment, he looks at me and goes, I had a feeling this is how it was gonna be, and I just need to let you know right now how this is gonna work. So I'm like, okay, here we go. What's about to be said? And he goes, well, the Bible does tell us that wives submit to their husbands. And I didn't see a good example of that today. You trying to lead us as if you were the husband off the boat when I clearly had it handled, that's not you submitting. So what we are going to do is you're going to submit to me and we're going to do what I say. You can have your opinions, but final say is from me. Side note, yes, the Bible does say that. The Bible did not say that you can use that to control your wife. Because I can go on a rant about that all day. But he was using this completely out of context to completely control me. And you can see where that got him. A divorce. Just another little side note. Any kind of negative comments, because I love them. I love to read them before I block them. So go ahead and comment them if you want. Because I love when the men find my videos again and they're like, we know that you were doing something. I want to hear his side of the story. I want to... Go ahead.
This is quite chilling, guys.
Let us
really chilling.
Looking back on that situation now, absolutely I should have been more aware and careful of situations that came up like this, because that was a mild one compared to what would happen to me in the next few years in our marriage. But thankfully, me and my son are gone. Narcissists are master gaslighters, manipulators, everything, to the point where they can trap people for a certain amount of time. And I'm grateful that I got out when I did, because I know that people are currently still in them after 20 years or didn't leave after 30 years. And I'm sorry for anyone who has ever had to deal with a narcissist. Parent relationship.
I mean, damn, it's really chilling to hear how her ex weaponized sleep, in particular, using it to isolate and control her. You know, this is gaslighting 101 at its finals. So, I mean, this isn't your average relationship drama. I think it's some kind of a psychological warfare. I don't usually say this, but well, props to the girl for finding the courage to leave that toxic mess behind. I mean, escaping a narcissist, especially a narcissistic relationship, really isn't that easy, but it's necessary for your sanity and well-being. It's all about recognizing the signs and taking back control. So, well, this has been a wild ride. Just remember that narcissism ain't just a buzzword. For me, I think it's a real danger lurking in relationships. So you should stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and don't let anyone dim your lights. This is OB Podcast. Lots of interesting stuff going on. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. And turn on that notification bell so that the daily routines, the daily lifestyles, and everything you need to know about your well-being is right here on this podcast. Sometimes entertainment and even sports too. Let's continue.
Switched and the abuse began. And this is actually incredibly common and well documented, and echoed in her comments. We were together for 5 years before we got married. When I tell you the day we got married, the switch flipped, it's just insane. 4 years of dating, no signs, honeymoon, all the red flags. The day I got married, 3 hours into it, I knew I was in trouble. Before that, everything was perfect. And yes, this is well documented, and this is from a domestic violence website. And they say over time, tension starts building. Usually when the abuser feels the victim is sufficiently hooked into the relationship, either through marriage, moving in together, or getting pregnant, the abuse starts. And not only is this well documented, this was also my personal experience. We bought a house together, the mask dropped. Here to scare anybody, I'm just here to inform. Because some abusers are incredibly calculative and can keep up a facade for a pretty long time. And while yes, we have things like how to spot an abuser early on, like if the relationship moves too quickly, sometimes that doesn't always apply. So what I do instead is focus on educating about covert abuse tactics so we can spot manipulation and covert abuse before it escalates, and it always escalates. Because what happens is, just as a society, but also just us, we're very misinformed and undereducated about what constitutes abuse and what is coercive control and how we spot it. We just might feel like there's something off in the relationship, but not be able to identify it as abuse. So instead, if we focus on more the abuse tactics, we can leave before we're too sufficiently hooked. And that's what she did. Although they just got married, she was like, nope, I'm out of here. Really smart, because otherwise that could be years of hurt.
This is the first red flag that I got from my narcissistic ex-husband when we
Okay.
first got married.
Go watch that video she made. There was one little segment in there where she talked about sleeping all the time. And I found
Flag that I got from my narcissistic ex-husband.
Really smart, because otherwise that could be years of hurt.
This is the first red flag that I got from my
Another reaction from one lady. She speaks sense.
go watch that video she made. There was one little segment in there where she talked about sleeping all the time. And I found it because I was scrolling through the comments and I saw someone else say, mine slept all the time too. I had no idea that was a form of manipulation. Let me tell you, sleeping all the time. Okay. Mine would always just say, oh, I'm a night owl, and I get that. People, they like to stay up, whatever, great. That's you, be you. I'm an early riser typically. Don't really like that about myself, but I like to get up early. Anyway, traditionally how it would work would be he would stay up till 3, 4, 5 a.m. And I would be in bed because I'd have to be up and go to work the next day. He didn't have a normal day job like that. So he'd stay up till, 3, 4, 5 a.m. And then I would go to work. I'd get up, start getting ready for work. He would go to sleep. And then I would get home from work and he'd just be waking up. Sometimes 2 p.m., sometimes like 4 p.m. And so really what that meant was after I'm done with work, that really gave us really 2 to 3 hours before I was like getting ready for bed to go to bed. So if we wanted to go out and do anything, go have dinner, anything, spend quality time together, it was that little short window of time.
These are
right?
quite chilling stories.
So,
Whoa.
And then if I had a day off, it was pretty much my day off. I would spend it alone. I would figure out something to do with myself. And
I mean, it can be really quite chilling to live with a narcissist. It doesn't matter if it's the guy or the lady, but these signs we talk about is very important. These things they suck the energy out of you. They drain the life out of you. They can lead you to depression. So I think depression is mostly caused by things like this. I'll say 50%. I don't have any data, but speculation. So yeah, let's just continue.
that would be it. And I got to a point where I just got exhausted with trying to express, I want to spend time with you, basically, and not getting any reciprocation for that. Just because there was never I want to spend time with you. No, that was never clearly stated. It was like, oh yeah, well, we'll do this, we'll do that, but it never happened. And again, it was like, oh, well, I was a night owl, I couldn't go to sleep. So the excuse was I couldn't fall asleep, so I just stayed up till 5 a.m. And then I was left there to go, okay, it's my day off, like a weekend or something. Guess I'll go have brunch by myself.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa.
Which, I don't know, if any of you have been married, you don't really get married to go to brunch by yourself.
No, it doesn't work that way. Come on, guys.
And yeah,
Guys, you can do
I had
better
no
than
idea
this.
Either that was a form of manipulation. I just didn't think about it. I just thought that's his personality. That was a big thing. Throughout the whole thing, I thought, oh, that's just his personality. And now that I'm seeing other people talk about their experiences, I'm like, maybe it was manipulation, because we never spent time together. The time that he was awake and I was awake, it was like, just wasn't anything. No.
Whoa, this is quite sad. What these two ladies went through, I wouldn't condone that. I can imagine. But anyway, I would like to know your thoughts below. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. to the OB podcast. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's keep this conversation going, and make sure you smash that like button, subscribe for more eye-opening content, and stay awake, I'll say, not woke. Until next time, peace out.